Hey everyone, welcome back to the Push Pace Podcast, a podcast where we talk about anything and everything related to pushing ourselves towards better, happier versions of ourselves. And I'm really excited this week to bring you a chat that I had with Morgan Cameron of Enlightened Beauty. She was a fellow Orangetheory fitness member at my home studio, but I had always known her as someone who left corporate America to build out her own dream. And so that's exactly what this talk is all about what it means to have a dream and pursue that as far as a business standpoint, how you can go from, being very secure in a certain job that you have and then take the risks and steps necessary to build out your dream. So it's an interesting conversation where we incorporate the aspects of fitness and how that helps give you the energy to be a great business person, etc. So it's a great talk and I hope you enjoy it. So as always, please let me know what you think of the episode. And if you haven't left a review for the podcast yet, please do so as well. It really helps me out and I hope you enjoy. Here we go. Test. Can you speak one more time?
Test.
Perfect. I'm just going to scoot it really towards you. Okay, awesome. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, cool. Well, Morgan, it's so good to have you on the podcast. This is just such a beautiful spot, and thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yes. So one of the main reasons why I wanted to have a chat with you is so that we can really talk about what it means to grow a dream, basically, because that's something that I think a lot of us, that everyone has their dream, their ambition of maybe building something up for themselves, but knowing that it really takes not only sacrifices, but time and just good old-fashioned hard work to get there, and a lot of maybe things that you wouldn't expect to go through along the way. And so just getting into what the process has been with you building up Enlightened Beauty and sort of how it all started. So first, could you just tell a little bit about who you are and sort of where we are and what you do now? Yeah,
so Enlightened Beauty, I created the name when I was in aesthetic school, which was 6 years ago. When I started aesthetic school, I really didn't have much of a vision at all. I was working in corporate America, and that was fulfilling in one way, but really unfulfilling in all of the other ways.
How so? What were you doing?
Yeah, so I was in banking. I worked in banking for about 5 years. I did inside sales, and I just felt like, at the time I was much younger and I was thinking I could build a really awesome career.
Is that kind of what, because banking kind of seemed like a nice, I don't want to say safe route, but
Yeah, that was exactly what it was. It was I was working retail before that and, restaurants and all of that. And then I was given this really awesome opportunity in banking. And I thought okay, yeah, this, I could make a career out of this because college was not my thing. So as I was going through and, in banking, I was, number one in the bank, and I felt like I could really grow in this position and maybe, be a branch manager one day or wherever that led. But I was like, this can't be it. And not that you can't create an amazing, business in banking and an amazing career for yourself. I knew it wasn't for me.
It was kind of an itch for something a little bit more than that.
Exactly. So then I was recruited by one of our VIP customers, and I thought oh my gosh, this is what advancement is or growth is. And I lasted 6 months in that job because I was working inside an office and I didn't talk to anybody. It was a lot of at the computer, and I was I can't do this. So I ended up going back to aesthetic school. My background is I was doing makeup for a couple different lines, and so that's where I started this whole aesthetic, where that passion started. But makeup was totally my thing. But as I was doing makeup, I kind of realized a lot of these girls had skin issues, and I was okay, my makeup application is only going to look as good as my canvas, and kind of what's going on here? Why are these girls, why is their skin looking the way that it is at such a young age or even at an older age? So I went back to aesthetic school. I went full time, and then from there I was working for 3 years for a bunch of different people, so different spas, salons. I worked at some bed and breakfast. I worked at a wax center, so about 3 and a half.
So you've done bounced around a lot. Okay, gotcha.
I've been an esthetician for 6 years, but for about 3.5 years, I was working for other people. And I do feel like that experience was invaluable because I learned so much about the industry and like what I wanted to do.
Yes.
And not that you can't start a business right out of school, but I think, I was just told this the other day that the typical timeline for an esthetician after you graduate is only like 1.5 years. And
really?
Yeah.
Kind of fall into something else.
Exactly. Then you go back to what you were doing before, or it didn't work out for you. So then yes, find something else or go back to what you were doing. And I was actually at that point 3.5 years in, I was like, okay, should I just go back into banking? But yeah, I was like, no.
But something told you not to.
Yeah. So I was actually living in Southern California for about 1.5 years, and then I moved back to Sacramento. And here I walked into a Sola salon. So a Sola salon is basically a room. My room was like 113 square feet. So just like a little corner, I had a sink in there. And I rented per month, and you basically just build your own business. And so that was August of 2016.
Yes, and that's close to around when we met, because I started working at Orangetheory in December of 2016, and we met probably just right when I started. I'm sure because I started with those morning classes.
I think I might have signed up for Orangetheory January of 2017.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, because I just remember meeting you at first, and then just. I mean, obviously, there's only so much like talk we can have as far as like member coach, as far as like just everyone, but I remember sort of hearing the beginning processes of like of this journey. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue though. So what's
So then so August of 2016, I opened Enlightened Beauty. I actually created the Instagram 4 years before, and I had the Instagram
like the same name.
The same name,
So
Enlightened
great.
Beauty.
That's so raw. That's so cool.
It's so but again, I had no. I mean, I one thing that I used to just tell myself is like, okay, I want to have my own thing and I want to make my own hours. That was kind of just this constant, like, put it out there in the universe. Those are the things that I would say to myself, but I didn't necessarily knew what that meant at the time. Yeah. I was just saying it, putting it out there.
Which makes, I think that's something we all would like. It's nice to have that personal freedom.
Right.
And not having necessarily the constraints of someone or something else.
Yeah. And I think too, like growing up, from like seeing my dad was in like a very structured job, then he got laid off, and that kind of, kind of really, I don't know. But it really threw him for a loop. He was really upset about it. And then he said for so many years, and maybe this is where I picked it up. He's like, I'm never working for anybody again. And I never felt like we were, like we were affected by the fact that he didn't have this full-time job anymore. He's working for himself, but he went into like a little bit of a depression, and then he just, he's, was totally fine. But I think maybe that's kind of where it came from. I was like, okay, if you work for somebody, you don't have the same security or something, or you're not in complete control. Right.
It's not all on you.
Yeah. And I think that might have been like where the seed was planted.
Totally.
So then August of 2016 started Enlightened Beauty. I remember I created this whole room, my bed, I had like my shelves. Obviously I was doing skin. I knew what I was doing, but not really.
Now, this early setup, was that in your own home?
Early setup when I graduated, that was in 2013.
It was in that 113 square foot spot still?
Yeah.
Okay, you're still there.
Yeah, so in 2000 and August 2016, I opened my business inside a Sola salon.
Got it.
Which was 113 square feet.
A good place to start though. As far as like kind of just taking the baby steps.
Right. Well, that's the thing that like a lot of estheticians, that's the end for them.
Yeah.
The end goal is I work at this spa and salon for however many years. Then I open my own Sola, and that is it. I'm at 113 square feet. I make my own hours. But that is the end goal for most estheticians or even hairstylists, right?
Interesting,
it's like this Sola is the end.
Yep.
So I remember opening it and being like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I knew like actually, the process of doing a facial and all of that, but like running a business and
you had no background, no classes,
nothing.
That.
And luckily, it was I used Instagram. That was how I was like, let me create an experience. I'm also, a very spiritual person. So I included that whole spiritual aspect in my business.
Kind of creating the identity of it as well.
Yeah.
I think it goes really nice with just that idea. Can you describe real quick what an esthetician?
Yeah, esthetician.
Esthetician. Can you explain to just anyone who might not know exactly what that is?
Yeah. So basically, you can think of it like a skin therapist. So I'm not a dermatologist where like I'm treating like skin cancers and that kind of thing. But people come to me who maybe have, grade 3 or 4 acne. So, a lot of inflammation in the skin, pigmentation, aggressive acne, those kinds of things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I was also doing, facial waxing as well. So eyebrows and, certain things like that. And so yeah. So then when at the start of my business,
you didn't know what you were doing. You were in a small room.
Right. I didn't have very many clients. And so, I just started to build it all.
Now what was that, the very few amount of clients?
Yeah.
That probably took quite a bit of time to really I'm guessing there were probably some times where you're like, this isn't like necessarily enough. Like I hope I should be getting more.
Yeah. I mean,
describe those feelings, because there's probably some doubt creeps in pretty early in the process.
Totally. Yeah. I remember being in the room and looking around. I was in the middle of a facial and I had, I did this opening order with this, skincare line that I believed in. I did a bunch of research on certain lines. Yeah. I brought this line in. I was looking at my shelves, and I had all this product, and I was like, oh my God, I have to sell that. It's kind of like this that first feeling of this is on me.
It's on you.
I have to do this.
100%.
So, yeah, that was kind of this really spark moment where I was like, okay, let me wake up and get focused here. And so really the reason why my business took off as quickly as it did was because I took a ton of advanced education. I think as estheticians, we think that we can just get out in the field and do these skin corrective treatments. Yeah. But really in school, we're not taught how to do that. You're taught really how to not transfer bacteria or disease, or, very simple things like how to do a facial, but not how to do a corrective facial.
Okay. So you had to go back into some schooling.
Totally. Yeah. And and I still, to this day, 2020, I just took a class last week. It's always changing, and you have to always be educated on what's new and what's working. And so, so I took a lot of these advanced education classes, which allowed me to know how to change the skin, corrective skin.
So did that change how you necessarily promoted yourself? How did that bring in more people?
So the reason why I did that was because, going back to the reason why I became an esthetician in the first place was because I was thinking about all of these girls that I was doing their makeup and thinking about their skin. And I wanted it to be more corrective and not so fluffy. A lot of times when people think facial, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that when I'm on vacation. It's going to be really relaxing. And I didn't want that. Yeah. I wanted something
a serious change.
Exactly. So I think it was in November, her name was Erin. She came in to me. She had grade 3 or 4 acne, and I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I gave her a whole plan, and she came to me. She was very consistent, and she was my first before and after.
Nice.
And I posted her in December. So I opened in August, posted her in December, and that was the snowball effect. So posting that before and after, then being in Sola Salon. Sola Salon is a nationwide company. They're franchises, but they are, like Orangetheory, right? They're very much, owned by other people, but there's a headquarters, a hub. And so Sola Salons, as a headquarters, chose me to be their esthetician face of Sola Salon for 2018.
That's freaking awesome.
Which was crazy. I was like, what? Me? So that was really cool. That happened for me really fast. And that was from Instagram. One kind of big transformation post. Yeah.
And really showed that what you did worked. It wasn't some BS, fluffy facial stuff. This was you changed someone's life.
Right, exactly. And she still comes to me to this day.
That's great.
She was just in 2 weeks ago. It's more of just maintenance at this point.
That was January 2017?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Okay, and
yeah,
so
it was actually, I was in Sola for a year. So it was like August of 2018. August of 2017 that they were like, oh, will you be the face of Sola for the next year?
Cool.
So it was me and 9 other people. There's 10 of us. But I was the only esthetician, which is cool because, again, it's nationwide. So they had this huge pool of people. Not as many estheticians, of course, in Sola Salon, but that was really cool. So that
you were selectable clearly for talent and you clearly worked hard to kind of get in that spotlight, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So then from there, when did this happen?
Yeah.
This space.
So I was at...
Because this place, how many square feet is this? This place is huge.
It's like 2,400 square feet. Yeah. 2,400, so a full storefront, and then I have treatment rooms in the back, bathroom, break room.
Yeah.
So this happened... So about 2.5 years in, I was like, okay, like I'm at a point now in Sola where I can't take any new clients. I was booked out.
And you were still in that spot.
I was still in that spot.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's over by the Golden One Center, right, in that U.S. Bank Tower, the one that lights up for the Kings.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, so it's at the ground floor right there. So that was, a nice area, but parking was becoming an issue.
Yep.
So I was like, and I was just growing out of the space. Again, it was 113 square feet, so it was really small. It was only me that could be in there. I was working, full time, and I was just back-to-back clients nonstop. So I got to a point where, I was months and months booked out, which didn't make sense because I would have like a new consultation and somebody who needed my services, but then I would be like, well, I can take you in 4 months. So then that began the journey of searching for a space.
Okay.
Finding a space took probably 8 months on its own.
Okay, because I want to talk about that a little, because that's that's not just, oh, here's an empty spot, like let's get into it. Like, so
No.
what was there anything part of like, describe like the really hard parts about that? Like, did you get into any spots where you're like, oh, I didn't know that needed to be, I need to have this paperwork or do this or...
Yeah, so as far as like paperwork, that wasn't a big deal. Really what it came down to is like knowing as an esthetician, I need rooms. Right, so I looked at so many different spots that were promising, but I was like, I'm gonna have to build rooms. So here, I might have to put in, $250,000 to make this space what I need it to be. And I was like, okay, I can't right now.
Yeah.
So coming into this space, it obviously did not look like this. Like the walls were bright orange and bright blue.
And what did it used to be here?
It used to be a vape shop. And before that was like Taekwondo. So
super not the aesthetic necessarily that you were looking for.
No, it was not. But when I walked in here and when I saw these 2 rooms in the back, I was like, what is this? Like it was almost like, the universe, because there was, before this space, there were so many spaces where I was like, okay, that's the one, let's do that.
Totally.
Like, I want that one.
It is probably easy to like almost like try to jump the gun, be like, okay, I finally found it.
Totally.
And something stopped you though. Something got you to here instead.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, okay, well, if I did that, then there was this hang up, or that person didn't call me back, or, and I was like, okay, I'm done waiting for you. I'm going to, move on. And so, when I walked in here, so this was actually, what's crazy about this space is it on, I can't remember the name of the site now, but it's for commercial buildings. This space said it was on J Street. So I was up and down J Street, couldn't find it because the layout showed this huge space plus these 2 rooms in the back. And I was like, how come I can't find it? So then the owner actually took over, relisted it under the right address.
It was the wrong address.
Right, wrong address. And then I came in here and I was like, okay. Like this was the one where I was like, okay, so I'm going to need to sign the lease today. I need this space.
Just that gut feeling of like, this is going to be it.
This is
almost
it.
like you can probably see it in your mind.
Oh, totally. When I show some people of the before and afters, I'll have to show you. They're like, are you, like, how could you, because sometimes people come into a space and they, you can't see it.
Yeah.
Because, it's hard to do unless you're like a contractor or an interior designer or whatever. But so.
I mean, redesigning my apartment living room, I feel like I can't even imagine the couch on the other side of the room.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so, that happened really fast. I was just like, I told the owner, I was like, this is what I do. I'm so interested. Please don't show it. I need it.
Nice.
So the owner has been amazing. He's allowed me to do anything that I wanted. Obviously, I did have back here, there was 2 bathrooms. He allowed me to make one a break room, all of that. This being a historic building in Sacramento, there's so many things you can't do. Like,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of things on the outside. They all have to be approved. Permits, if I want to do certain things in here, they all have to be, permitted, all that stuff. But luckily, just coming in here, I just was like, okay, this is it. So I signed the lease a year ago this month, last year. So that was
wow. Okay,
March.
So it's been a year about.
Yeah, so I signed the lease in March of 2019.
Yeah, cool.
And then from March until May, I just redid the whole space. Had
Gotcha.
a contractor.
And that must have costed a lot. And was this, and so describe that process as far as I mean, you didn't have this money on hand necessarily, did you?
No. Well, so it's kind of interesting. It's like yes and no. Like I did, I had a really successful business running at the same time.
Yep.
So what I was doing is, I was in a position where everything that I made, I was able to put back in.
Gotcha. Because I think money is a big thing that holds a lot of people back from. I mean, sometimes these numbers can get so big that it's just like it's not
like
even.
and it's too much. And I think.
And what did it feel like to necessarily? Because sometimes it's very easy to just like, hey, here's the money I made. New shoes, let's go on a vacation.
Exactly.
But to put that money back in, that takes some discipline and but knowing that you're building up something bigger and better probably is
I think that's it. I think a lot of times we think about so short term and the small things that I could have said, oh my God, I can't get my nails done, or I can't, whatever it is, all the girly shit that I do. I was like, yeah, but it's for something so much bigger. So it's I made a lot of sacrifices for, I don't even want to say I made a lot of sacrifices. It's really not sacrifice when you find something that you believe in and it's going to succeed. It's that's where I was. It was I didn't have.
So you have that just that's really interesting to hear that, because I think that mindset is so important. Is because if you don't believe in yourself, then how are you supposed to? Right.
And I think, talking about exercise, that was probably the part for me that I played soccer growing up. I've run marathons, I work out, and I think exercise, treating yourself a certain way, it gives you the building blocks to believe in yourself, right? I feel like if you feel good about yourself, it's everything else kind of falls into place.
Totally.
So yeah, I never
and it definitely goes deeper than just fat loss or weight loss with exercise.
Yeah, I mean, totally. It's not even about that. I mean, there definitely was time when I was younger where I was a little heavier, or being 21 and drinking a lot and all of that stuff. And during that time I was not in a good headspace. I didn't eat properly. I didn't exercise. I didn't treat myself well. But when you have your own business, that was already, operating well in a small space, and then I eat well, and then I exercise, and I, treat myself with respect. It's everything else, you're just, you feel stronger in every other way. So yeah, I have fear in a lot of areas in my life, maybe with relationships or things like that. But when it comes to, my business or what I think I can do, it's I don't have fear.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
I know. It's just, but I do have it in other aspects, but luckily I don't in this one place.
You very much believe in yourself, what you do, and the journey of where it's heading.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Really, I've had, those transformations and having those back and forths with, my girls of wow, you really changed my skin, which means you changed my confidence, and you changed how I interact with people and how I interact with the world. It's that
you're making a difference.
Exactly. Yeah. So
that's awesome. And that's especially with just having that self-confidence to believe in yourself and your dream is super, super important, I think, for anyone that's trying to go for something. But I am curious though, were there any other standout points that that you might have doubted it in the early processes? Maybe when you were first starting out, or was it really
yeah. Well, so yeah, when I first started out, what I said was, when I walked into that room, okay, I just need to make rent. I just need to make enough money to pay my rent, pay my, and as long as I'm breaking even, okay, like let's just start there.
Yeah.
And
did you break even from the start?
So luckily I did.
That's
because
good.
Again, I was an esthetician for, 3.5 years before that. So
Yes.
I was working at a couple different places. I didn't, I think I started with Enlightened Beauty. I had like 200 followers. It wasn't like I had my own thing.
Yeah.
But I was able to, I knew I was going to open it in June. So from June to August, I was kind of like, hey, I'm going to be opening. I'm da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So I was able to kind of, get myself out there and talk about Enlightened Beauty for 2 months before I even opened. So yes, I did start with some people. I was not booked by any means.
Yeah.
I had plenty of space, and I was working 7 days a week because I wanted to just be available for whenever somebody needed me.
You kind of what you did what you had to do.
Exactly.
And I'm sure outside of that, you're just putting in all the work you can just to get the money to come in. And
exactly.
how would you say your work, like as far as like work ethic, work level has changed from like going back to like maybe your banking days until now?
Oh yeah. So banking, obviously I was working full time. I've always like taken pride in like what I did because it was a reflection on myself. So it was something that like work was always kind of my way that I was like, okay, this is, I don't want to say that this is my value, but I took it serious,
Yeah.
So I carried that in to opening my own business, and but my work ethic has definitely, you work at a full-time job, you work 40 hours a week. You own your own business, you literally work, like that's all I do. It's like,
and it's always on your mind.
It's always on your mind. It's all you do. It's all you think about. It's like, whether you're texting someone, you're talking to someone, you're like, it's all your business. So you work all the time.
And are there certain strategies you use to help sort of mitigate or like help with that separation of like personal life and work life?
Yeah.
Because I find for me personally, even though I don't have any like as necessarily structural business like this, finding that separation between like I always could be doing more. There's always something you could be doing to help your business grow.
Yeah.
How do you draw the line between those things?
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of ideas and a lot of goals for where I want Enlightened Beauty to go, and I don't necessarily feel like when you do something that you love so much that you're working that hard.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
because I'm sure you've heard it from people. I've heard it from people where they say like, they say, "Wow, you're working a lot," and you're like, thanks," but like it doesn't necessarily. It's not like. It doesn't bother you, or it doesn't. It doesn't
feel like I'm working a lot. Like,
and I think some people get into the mindset of like, I'm gonna have to just work so hard, and it's gonna be so stressful. Where it's like when you're doing the work for this thing that you believe in. Yeah. I don't know how you said it. You said it doesn't feel.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like work. Like it doesn't feel like now if I was working for somebody else. Building somebody else's dream.
Way different.
It's
like every task seems that much almost. Yeah, that's real. That's a really interesting thought. Yeah, it makes it a little bit more weight bearing. And
it does.
Less fun.
Right. And I think since I opened this space, I've hired people. So that's been huge because I have
Do you know did you have learned how to run an interview? Or did you just kind of?
So what's interesting is that when I was in my Sola salon, and I thought, okay, if I ever expand, I always said Alicia, my girl Alicia, who I actually went to aesthetic school with. She was like on my mind. I was actually 27 at the time I went to aesthetic school, or 26, and she was 19, and we carpooled together. But at 19, she was very mature, and like I just always thought about her. So it was almost, like the universe was always like working in my favor for this.
Oh, gotcha.
So when I expanded, I reached out to her and I said, hey, like, I need you to be my manager.
There you go. Very cool.
And she's here. Yeah,
gotcha.
She works here.
And now you're in the process of trying to hire.
Yeah. So now I'm in the process of hiring another esthetician. So now I'm doing the interview process, which did you like put out like job ads, or you learning how to do that? All I did honestly is I posted we're hiring on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah.
That was all I did.
That's a nice modern way to do it.
Yeah. Very cool. We've gotten a huge response. I think so. Saturday will be my last interview day, and at that point we have probably done done over 20 interviews.
That's great.
Yeah. So I just looked online, some interview questions, some of my interviews were like 20 minutes long, because I'm like, okay, cool. Like you just ask, so I try not to make it, like, oh my God, I gotta be so corporate. I gotta do this. It's like this.
You just kind of have to go with the flow, and it's yours. You can do it how you want to.
Exactly. Yeah.
What would you say for those that are looking to start their own business?
Yeah.
Was there anything that you wish you would have known before, like, you came into this spot, or before you really started pursuing stuff? If there was any knowledge you would want to give someone beforehand?
Gosh, like something. I mean, I guess.
Or just the best piece of advice you could give someone.
Yeah, the best piece of advice I guess I would give to someone who is opening their own business is just recognizing that. I've said this a couple times to some of my friends. Like, I feel like I made things look a little too easy. I think like
you have been making it sound a little easy.
Yeah, I think that I have definitely had moments where I'm just like, why am I doing this? In the beginning, like maybe if I was like, slower. And I think that having that really like strong work ethic made things a little bit more difficult for me, because I'm like, I have to succeed and I have to succeed now. But that was also like the push that made everything happen the way that it did. So I don't know, just knowing that like there are going to be things that are like curveballs that get thrown at you, or if I have a client and I'm doing chemical peels, right? So these are really like deep treatments, and somebody has a reaction and they're really upset. It's like dealing with that. Luckily I had the knowledge on how to deal with it, but just knowing that like things are not always going to be so easy, and it's not what you see like on social media, or what you see when you're talking to someone, it's just how can I say it? It's not as easy as it seems. So just know that like things are going to be thrown in your path, and it's up to you to jump over the hurdle, I guess. Like, what am I trying to say? Yes. It's just...
And that things definitely don't grow overnight.
Right, and I mean, it'll be 4 years in August, and that was...
And this is just the start of your life, though. Exactly. I mean, you're in your early 30s, and so, and I'm guessing you're seeing this for decades down the line. Yeah. And I think when we put our business dreams or ambitions into perspective like that, and we really take that moment to feel like, okay, we have a lot of time. Like we do, and it doesn't all have to happen all at once. And as long as we're, baby steps in the right direction, even if that just starts off with making the rent for the place, right, you're headed in the right direction in the grand timeline of it all.
And I think, that is like just knowing, like maybe like having a 5-year or a 10-year plan, like for your business, or just not even a plan, but having an idea. So that way it doesn't feel like, you started and then this person over here has been in business for 3 years, but you just want to be where they're at. It's like, it's not how it works. Yeah. It takes time, it takes patience and dedication.
I saw this one post. It was about a drill of you had to write out minute by minute what your day would look like 5 years from now. From when you wake up to when you go to bed, what is every minute of your day 5 years from now? What do you want that to look like?
So you're doing it in one day? You wrote it for one day?
So you write, if you're looking 5 years from now, 5 years now with Enlightened Beauty from where it is now. Yeah. What is your day going to look like?
Oh,
and so it's an I'm not saying the answer, but I'm saying it's an interesting thought for people to have, is to really think about that long 5 to 10 year, like, what does this really look like down the line? Yeah. And that it takes time to get there, but it's also, that's a lot of time to figure that out. Right,
exactly. When I think about, at 5 years, that'll be a year from August, it's like the amount of growth that I've done in 5 years will be huge.
Considering you still have 20, 30, 40 plus years, I mean, it's
right, exactly.
Wild.
Right, it is crazy to think, Cool.
Yeah. But you've definitely come a long way, and I think, I think bringing up the importance of the work ethic and believing in yourself and having that confidence to just know that it's your calling, and sharing your story on that, I think is going to help some people out. I hope, and make it a little bit more of an understanding that just because it might seem a little scary doesn't mean that you still can't go for it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. If you if you have the belief in something and you have the vision for it, it's like you're doing the world a disservice by not doing it.
Nice.
You know?
I love that. What a great final note to end. So thank you so much for
thank you so
coming
much.
on to talk and sharing your insight, and it's great to have you on. So
thank you.
And good luck with everything in the next few years, and it's going to be exciting to see. Enlightened Beauty in Sacramento.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thanks, Morgan.